Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals, and I have got in front of me 2, 4, 6 journal covers that I finished making yesterday. And it came about because I just had a stack of scrapbook paper, which I will show you here, that was actually gifted to me, and I have been going through it all year, using up pages, and the ones at the top are ones that I've been hoarding. So for a lot of this year I've been sitting on this pile and just been like, oh, they're too precious to use. But my thing this year is to use the things. So last night I just sat down at my desk, pulled out that stack of scrapbook papers and went through them, and my idea was to just make one journal. And it was this one. I'm going to be making a vintage French floral journal out of this with a blue theme. So I'm going to do lots of vintage French script and letters in here. And that was my heart, to just go all out with one journal, so to focus on one journal at a time and do that. But then I saw this paper, and these two papers were right at the very top of that pile as my favourite two in that whole stash. And I just was like, well, if I'm going to make this one, I have to make this one too. And my idea is to make both of these into vintage French journals. And then, because I was looking at the stash, I went and just was like, well, I'm on a roll now, let's just keep going. And so then I made this one here. I think this one was next. This was another of my favorite papers because I love the vintage of it, and the lady on the front and the lady on the back. And then the roses, I just went nuts. I just chose the other ones, and then the vintage florals and birds. This one's kind of an extra one. This is not made using scrapbook paper, but is using things that I had in my stash that I'm just going through my stash, looking at papers and trying to finally use the things I've been hoarding. So that was just an extra bonus one I'm including in this collection, because what I'm trying to show in this video is a video request from one of my subscribers to just show more of my process. This person just likes seeing, a bit more behind the scenes, how I make my journal. So I thought I'd put the camera on and kind of show you mid-process, where I'm at, what I'm doing, and how these came together. So from these covers, I was like, okay, I want to dress them up a little bit. Let's pull out my lace, and let me show you my lace. So I've got 2 baskets for my lace, and this is what they look like. They're a bit messy at the moment, but usually every now and then I will go through them and structure them, organize them. And so I just went through my lace, and I also have a bag of vintage French lace that I got from France. And so my idea for the French journals was to put French lace on it. So this is French lace, and this is French lace. I tried to make it work with this one, but it didn't show up on the background. That was very plain. So I thought I'd do like a lovely sort of baby blue and baby pink, soft pink and blues for this journal. And just I needed something striking, because this is so striking, and it was very bare up here. So I'm like, it needs something equally striking there. So that's what I did for that one. But then I really wanted to feature the French lace. So this one, I turned it into a pocket. So let me just show you how that looks, like that. Isn't that stunning? So I'm going to try and put a vintage French postcard there. I'm just not sure if I have one that matches this colour scheme, and I don't want it to clash. So I might just leave it open or find something else if I can't find the right colours. But that was my aim for a postcard. This one you can also put in a postcard, but I'm not going to, because I want that lady to be featured. But just a nice extra thing. You can add little pieces of ephemera in there if you wanted. Give you a look at the back of this one. I love how the lace comes over here. And even though this is in English, I thought maybe she could be like an English lady who moved to France, and she lived in France for the rest of her life. So something like that. And I just love this one. And then this one, looking at my lace, and I was like, again, I've been hoarding this lace and this lace forever, but it's time, you guys, it's time. Use the things. When it gets to the end of the year, I'm like, now I've really got to use the things. And I thought this just works so well, you know, because it was just a lot of flowers happening. So this kind of breaks it up, and this becomes the feature instead of the background, really. Isn't that stunning? Oh my goodness. And it looks so elegant and beautiful. Anyway, this one, I haven't found a bit of lace yet. I think I want to get some lace and do another pocket down here, or just cover it entirely. Maybe some at the top. I'm not too sure yet. I am playing around with this one. We'll see what happens. And then this one, well, obviously it's like my standard botanical journals that I make. And I always put like a strip of lace just down the spine and pick up the pinks in the cover there. I thought the pink again worked well with the blue. Pink, white and blue, I quite like that sort of soft color combination. So that's that one. And then, yeah, I went through my scrapbook papers as I was doing the covers and looked out for any papers that I thought went well with the theme and the colors. So that looks so beautiful. So this one, I don't want too many because they're really thick pages. You know, scrapbook paper is quite thick. So even though I was going a bit crazy, I was cutting it. I want to use that one. I want to use that one. I had to restrain myself and be like, oh yeah, remember they're thick. You can't have too many in a single signature journal. Otherwise it just doesn't work. It gets too bulky and hard to manage. So I limit myself to about four at most. And then I pair it with, you know, the vintage ledgers and the letters and everything. So I've got that one. Then I did this one. And I've just got the two here because it's dependent on what papers I have. I don't have any other papers like I do in this one. So 2 is enough though. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. I haven't got any papers for this one yet. I'm not sure what I'm doing with these yet. In fact, this one I'm probably just going to raid my floral book pages for that one. This one I did manage to find quite a lot of papers, and I had to take some out because I ended up with like 6 pages. And I thought that worked well with the music paper, and it's kind of the same color. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put quite a lot of vintage music paper in this one because I love pairing that with birds, because like the bird is singing. Bird song. And just florals as well, and more of the brown to go with that vintage, because it's got more of that vintage tone, more of the muted tones. So that one is that. And then this one, again, I pulled out maybe like 6 scrapbook papers for this, and I had to be like, nope, too many. So what I'm going for is like a colourful floral theme. I'm not going to go with a specific colour with this one. I'm just going to do all the colours because there's so many different colours represented here. And I thought, yep, perfect. And then this one has a flower on the back there. So I thought that one worked well with the white and the pink. And then I've got this last book page. This is my very last book page from this book that I made all these journals out of. So those are some of my feature pages. I always start collecting feature pages. And then from there, that's now when I pick the other pages. So I'll go ahead and get vintage music paper for those ones. I have, let me show you. I've got a whole bunch of these vintage exercise books. So I will literally just sit here and, you know, go through them and pick out one each for these journals. So I'll just kind of show you some of that process. So we fold, I want 6 pages, don't I? So, although I don't know if I want vintage paper in the botanical one. I think the botanical one I'm going to do just florals, but you know, let's just do it here. Let's get 6 pages. I can always put aside an extra page if I need to. And I literally just, rip them out and fold them. So 2, 4, 6. Might as well just take out the whole thing there. And all I do is then get my scissors and cut this edge. And I know you can definitely have ripped edges in your journals, but I I prefer clean edges. So I just fold them first, so then I don't have as far to cut. And then they kind of match up, the pages match up anyway when you cut it this way. So those are my beautiful lined ledger pages. That one I'll put aside. And then what I've got here is this one here with the red lines. Now, I actually don't think I'll put the ones with red lines maybe in these journals, just because of the blue. I don't know, maybe I will. I'm just thinking because it does have the pink lace and that ties in the red tones there. And if I am going vintage French, then I think I can make it work. I mean, anything can work. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about, even with this, is like, I don't know if the red works with the cover. I mean, it definitely can work, but I just like the idea of making everything match up. So I've got 2, 4, and then 6. We have another leftover one for another journal. And see, this is helping me get rid of all of these. They're taking up room on my shelf. And so I love making journals as a way not just to make something pretty, but to use up the things and free up the space in my room. Okay, and then I'll just show you the next one. I don't often put the next one in my journals just because it's quite full on. Like, there's a lot going on here, but I think this can definitely work for my vintage French journals. When I have 2 pages like this, I like to often just cut it here, because then that saves time cutting twice individually. So yeah, those will definitely work for the vintage French journals, especially because they're blue themed. And then, yeah, I'm just going to go for it. Let's just put them all in. Let's do that. I kind of like putting them in floral garden botanical journals because it kind of reminds me of like a grid, like a field notes page, where you might want to write some information about the flowers or draw them. So the grid kind of reminds me of that, sort of more that methodical, scientific type of thing. I don't know if anyone else thinks that way, but that's what I'm thinking. And the whole time my brain is thinking about stuff like that when I'm making my journals. It's like, okay, how does this fit with the theme? And I used to make just totally random eclectic journals where I wasn't thinking about themes or things going together. I just put everything that I liked in a journal. But now my brain can't switch off and it's always thinking about, okay, does that work? And if it does, how does it work? There's always a reason for everything I'm including in my journals now. All right, so 2, 4, 6, just making sure I've got all of those. So now I've got, you know, these pages. The next thing I might do is look for my novelty pages. So I have a whole bunch of coffee dye pages. So I know I will want to put ones with the window in these ones because the blue works. Sometimes I don't put these envelopes in every journal because I don't think the blue works with the color theme. But obviously it's going to work brilliantly with the blue journal. Just want them a bit more crisp. I will save some of the grungier journals for my grungier, some of the grungier envelopes for my grungier journals. Okay, and then when it comes to this one, so I might not do the green with the blue for that one. So that's when I would use one without the window. I mean, I know it's already got that, but it's less noticeable. And then this one, I would again probably use one more like this. Not that it matters. Again, this so does not matter. I'm just trying to, I'm not saying this because it matters. I'm saying it because this is what's going through my head while I'm making them. And if you're wanting to know my process, I'm trying to just talk through my process as much as possible so it makes sense. So this one, I think I want the window just because there's, you know, the greeny blue tone. Honestly, I'm just thinking I want a music paper tag in it, that's all. I'm thinking I could show off a music paper tag in that pocket, and the music paper tag goes with the theme. So that's how I'm doing that one. And then this one, yeah, I can definitely do one of the pocket pages. Sorry, one of the window ones. Okay, so that's then that. Next, I might do my doilies. So I just have a whole stash of doilies here, which are great to draw on. And again, I just fold them in half. So this is my process. I usually go feature pages first, like cover first, feature pages, then my sort of novelty pages, like these ones. I kind of still call them feature pages in a way, even though they're blank writing pages. And then, yeah, novelty pages like this, like your pocket pages, your envelopes, your doilies, your vellum, your different material papers, maybe like craft paper, that kind of thing. And I'm choosing white doilies for these ones because I think the white, you know, white stands out. This has a white background. It's going to work. I often use white in my journals, but these ones I could definitely use white, absolutely, but I'm going to use my coffee dye just because they're more of the vintage type of journal. But you'll notice, like, even if it's not a vintage journal, I'm totally happy putting the occasional vintage papers in them. If it's a straight vintage journal, though, I want to use everything coffee dyed and vintage. So unfortunately, it doesn't quite reach to the edge there. Otherwise, it will stick out over the edge of the journal. So I want to cut that off when I fold it. And it totally looks fine anyway, because it's got all that beautiful design. So I always open up the journal so I can see where the middle line is and how far it's going across the page, across the cover. So I know it's not going out like this. And then I know how much I want in from that edge as to how wide I want my pages. Because some I want wider than others, you know, to give that junk journal variety and to show up different layers in the journal as you turn the pages. So I have 3 journals with, hang on, I've got 4 journals for the vintage, 2 with the white doily. So that's what I'll do here. I'm not even in frame, you guys. All right. And we'll just, and I always like doing my doilies much more in from the edges, both the tops and the side. The tops, both the top and the bottom and the side, because they're quite fragile, you know, they're thinner paper. So this just protects it inside all of the other pages. So there's nothing sticking out and getting bent or ripped. So perfect. Now I've got 4 doilies there. And where I'm reaching these from, you know, I've got baskets for my lace. My envelopes are in a drawer, and my doilies are actually in the same drawer as my envelopes. So I'm just putting them straight back into that drawer, so I don't have stuff everywhere, you know, I don't have all my envelopes everywhere. You know, I'm going to put these back on my shelf right now. I'm going to put these lace baskets back on my shelf right now. And so that's how I'm not making a mess. I'm getting everything out. I know where everything is. Everything has its place. I pull it out for what I need, grab what I need, put it back. And that's just how I work. Okay, so from there, I now will get on to Like obviously I might find a few more feature pages and a few more novelty pages, get the vintage music paper. I'll put vintage music paper in probably all of the journals because I just love it so much. And sometimes when I make journals in a collection, I will keep them in bulk like this, but because I'm going to make these ones individually, I'm going to separate them now and put them into their respective covers. And yeah, I thought I'd put the camera on for this process because I don't usually work like this. I either have a collection where every one of the journals is very similar, like a wallpaper collection or something like that, or I work individually on a journal. But I did have a question from one of my subscribers asking, you know, how many journals do you work on at one time? I do work on multiple journals at a time. I often have like I don't know, maybe up to 10, 20 journals sometimes on the go. So yeah, that's kind of me showing in this video how I tend to make journals multiple on the go. Like these are all, I forgot to cut that. These are all a bit different. But because they're similar, I'm sort of making them as a collection. But after this basic step, you know, I'm going to part ways and make them one at a time. So yeah, I'm going to concentrate on the vintage French first, probably, or maybe this one, because I know what I'm doing with those ones especially. I know I'm going to just put floral pages in that, music paper in that. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing with this yet. Not exactly sure what I'm doing this. I know I'm going to do florals and I know I'm going to do vintage with this, but not sure exactly what papers yet. All the others, I can see it already. I know what I'm going to do. I know what pages I'm going to put in them. And which one needs this? I think it was this one. Okay, so that's how I work. The next step after I would have gathered all the other music papers and novelty pages and everything is to grab my plain pages, my writing pages. So cream paper, coffee dyed paper, lined paper, note papers, all that kind of thing. From there, I then also make my pocket pages where I sew pocket pages into the journal, into the pages. And then from there, I arrange the pages. From there, I add any pockets and things like that. So when I was doing my covers, you know, you end up with offcuts like this. So these will turn into pockets in some of the journals. These might turn into tags, journal cards, or collaged vintage tags, maybe. I love that. Look at that. That's gorgeous. So I'll add my pockets in, and then I will bind them, and then I add all my ephemera. So let me show you that. My main ephemera comes either in this box here. It has my pockets, my bags, my envelopes, my handmade envelopes, my wallpaper pockets, my paint chips, my library cards, my index cards, my greeting cards, papers. So most of my ephemera that I put in my journals either comes from this box or this basket, which is my tag basket. So yeah, that is my process. I hope that was helpful, kind of seeing it on the go, and how I work with multiple journals at a time. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.